Alright, Victorum Gaming fans and Judge Dredd fans, we are back with another video in the series covering the basic intro scenarios, and this is the third of the final intro scenario for the game here, and this one's called Sweet Justice, and sort of follows the sort of conclusion to the little mini story that kind of runs through these three starter scenarios. So the forces that you get here is basically all the contents from the box. So you get the two judges. This one they call Judge Ramirez, so that's the senior street judge with basically all the normal equipment. And then Judge Cassidy is a veteran judge here. So even though you're going to use the rookie model that they provided, but basically, yeah, so you get a veteran and a senior street judge in this scenario, which you're going to need because basically you get to use all of the gang models that are coming in the box. So heavy with a combat rifle, heavy with an auto stump, heavy with two pistols, a punk with a spit pistol, two gang punks with sawn-off stump guns, a gang punk with a pistol and a knife, and finally a gang punk with a pistol and a chain. So basically the whole crew at the bottom here. So this is definitely the biggest game of the three in this starter scenario set here. Setup. The pure audacity of the high rollers ambushing Justice Department personnel immediately focused the attention of the sector house. Clearly, this incursion of the gang into the sector needed to be nipped in the bud, and quickly. Footage from Justice Department accredited peepers and a few snippets of info from paid narcs has identified a high roller safe house in the Ann Whitcomb block of Sector 43. It's suspected to house large quantities of finest granulated white ziz with street value of over 1 million creds. Rather than a full coordinated assault, two of Sector 43's judges were tasked with putting an end to the High Rollers' menace instead and send a message to all gangs in that this sector is off limits. So the encounter itself, as far as terrain goes, so the table must include open ground across half the table. This represents the site of an old tween-block street market. Although classed as open, the terrain should include lots of objects like debris, trash, abandoned or parked vehicles, temporary barricades in order to give the approaching judges plenty of cover. The other half of the table should have one or more prominent buildings to represent the high roller safe house that's being raided. So deployment, the high rollers player deploys 4 of their models anywhere that's not in the open area on the table as sentries, and we'll see that in just a second. The judges move on from the attacker's table edge when they activate on the first turn. So basically, here's what you got. Judges come in from that attacking table edge up about half the table, and then the other half is the defender's table where their safe house is located. So pretty simple setup overall. Armory and Big Meg cards that you get. So the Justice Department gets High X, Ricochet, and Seeker, as well as Spy in the Sky, Bring It On, and Munch or Munts for range. I'm not sure how that one said. Whereas the High Rollers get Smoke Bomb, Stims, and Medpack. And then Cover Me, Sixth Sense, and Boingers. So pretty cool there. Sentries. So the gangers do have some backup here. Until the alarm is sounded, whenever a sentry is activated, roll a combat die for them. On a hit, they may make 1 normal action. On an armor, they take no action and remain stationary. And on a special, the Justice Department player may make a normal move action with the sentry. The star action chips make no difference except that, as normal, they can be put back in the pot with a successful cool test and result in being pinned on a failed attempt. And then if a high rollers player sentry draws a line of sight to a judge model while taking a move, it stops immediately and tests to spot them. So if the test has failed, it continues its movement and can't test again to spot that model. During any subsequent activation, the sentry may test to spot an enemy model that takes an action with the sentry's focused front arc. Okay. And basically to spot the judges, you roll a combat die, and what the sentry needs to score depends on how much cover the judge model's in. So, the 2000 AD symbol if you're in heavy cover, the defense if you're in light cover, and then the hit basically if there's no cover. And on a successful roll, the alarm is raised, so you test only once per activation per enemy model in line of sight. A sentry will automatically detect an attacker in their focused front arc if they're within their cool value in inches, regardless of line of sight. The alarm is also raised if any judge makes a ranged or close combat attack and fails to incapacitate or subdue the target, or if a judge charges or sprints. So just keep that in mind too. So kind of want to be a little bit stealthy initially and take down some of the gangers to not raise the alarm right away. The backup. The remaining high rollers are nearby and ready to reinforce after the alarm is sounded. When the alarm is sounded or after the first turn is over, whichever comes first, add the action chips for all surviving high rollers into the bag. When a model that isn't on the table is activated, it must make a move action to move on from any part of the table edge that is within their deployment zone as its first action before choosing its second action. A double action may not be chosen when entering the table and leaving the table. Models can't leave the table if they move across the table edge by any means. Judges and high rollers that leave the table can return using the backup rules that we just covered. The game length basically ends when one judge model is subdued or incapacitated, or four of the high rollers are subdued, which really isn't all that much. Basically, half of them. Then the objectives. So the Justice Department player wins if the high rollers have 4 models subdued or incapacitated at the end of the game. The high rollers player wins if the judges have 1 model subdued or incapacitated at the end of the game. So pretty brutal mission. So basically this one's about kicking some butt. So basically if you're the judges, you need to take down half the gangers basically. And then if you are the gangers, you just need to take one of the 2 judges down. So that being said, if you're the judges, you're definitely still outnumbered, as is kind of the normal case. And even though you've got the sort of, you got 2 high-level judges, again, a senior and a veteran judge, you still can't really get all that reckless. At least not initially. So you definitely want to take down a couple of these guys before the reinforcements really show up and the alarm is raised, and ideally keeping that alarm from happening as long as possible would be to your advantage. The gangers, of course, since you heavily outnumber the judges, you want to get set up into good areas, cover, and just basically not just team up, but basically pour on the damage as much as you can onto one judge, and really, I would say, focus on one of the 2, and just, again, try and knock them down. Basically, you just got to get one. So you might try focusing on the veteran judge as opposed to the senior street judge. I believe that's the senior one's the higher rank. Yeah, but again, pretty interesting, and definitely allows you to play with the way the table's set up. So obviously, as it says, having some cover and things for the judges to approach would certainly help, and kind of really makes it like a little sneaking infiltration type mission. Almost like the sort of the more open or beginning parts of the newer Dredd movie. So some cool stuff that you could do with that, and of course, depending on what you want to set up as the gangers' safe house, that could definitely make for some interesting approaches, terrain, and all that stuff, and really make for some fun games. So, and definitely again, sort of is the biggest progression here from that very first scenario to this now, which is basically as close to a full game as you get with the contents of the starter box. So definitely gets you more of that action that you can expect with sort of a full-size game. So and with 10 models on the board, there's definitely going to be a lot of action happening, so this should be really cool. So overall, yeah, really nice little series here of missions. Again, you just get the 3 that basically build up the contents of the starter box for you and get you comfortable with playing the game, and even tells a little story, which is cool too. So that kind of gets you set up for trying out some of the campaigns, and the main rulebook does have a pretty sweet campaign system, so definitely worth checking out if you can. So hope you guys enjoyed our little review here. If you could, hit us up with a like and a subscribe if you haven't already, and then we'll see you in the next one.